Alison here. Welcome back to Words and Pictures for another Watercolour Wednesday. I might be a little bit quiet during June. The videos will be here for you, but I will be engaged in the Artsy Crafts retreat at Paper Artsy headquarters in France. I will be posting on Instagram some, I hope, videos and photos from the glorious place I'm going to be with a group of amazing people from around the world. But yes, I might not get round to quite as prompt comment answering as I usually do. But in the meantime, let's have some watercolour playtime. I'm starting a little new series, which I'm just going to call Take 3 Colours. I'm going to pick 3 colours and I'm just going to have a little playtime with them in honour of it being June. I've got Junebug here, which is one of my American Journey watercolours. I've got the replacement, Lavender and Sap Green. So these are favourite colours of mine. I've had to get new ones because I've run out. And yeah, I'm going to take these 3 and just do a little bit of watery playtime with them. If you've spotted colours that I've used in the past, or you think I might have colours and you have suggestions for 3 colours you'd like to see put together in this kind of playtime, let me know in the comments and I will do my best to oblige. It might not be possible to fulfill everybody's dreams, but I'll certainly give it a go. Right, there we have 3 colours. So the Lavender, the Sap Green, the Junebug. I think we'll just start by getting them onto some paper. I've got my usual fairly cheap watercolour pad here. This is the Goldline Studio Pad. I've got a piece of Khadi paper, beautiful handmade paper from South India. And that is 100% cotton. This isn't. So we'll also get a little look at the kinds of differences that might make. But I'm really just here to play. I may at some point just put some music on and let things take their course. Going to have a little piece of kitchen towel nearby so that I can use that to just control the amount of water on my brush. So there's the Lavender taking its first little journey across the page. Here's the Junebug taking its first little journey across the page. It's a beautiful, vivid kind of turquoise blue. And here's my much loved Sap Green, probably my most used colour of all time, although I do always mix it up. I very rarely use it in its purest form. It will always get something else involved. So let's take a look at a little bit of Sap Green with a little bit of Lavender. Just to see, oh, now I've messed up my Lavender. Not to worry. I should have cleaned my brush better. That's going to be a lovely smoky green. Just going to clean that out a little bit in there. That's better. So now let's put a little bit of Lavender with a little bit of Junebug. You can hear that I'm rinsing the brush each time. Again, this is going to create a slightly smoky version, I hope, of the Junebug, because the Lavender does have a touch of grey about it, a touch of opacity about it. That's a pretty colour, sort of real sky blue. And then let's take a little look at some Sap Green with a bit of Junebug. I'm really putting the tiniest bit of paint on the brush here as I go, although I seem to have picked up extra Sap Green. Ooh, that's pretty. There we go. So just letting those take a first little journey. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you get a look at how the paint just spreads on the page. My next thing that I'm going to do, you can already see, I want to just let these move across the page into different colours, creating little stripes of mixing. So into this lavender at the top, I might just put a little bit of Junebug and let that mix as it goes. And then I'll bring in a little bit of the Sap Green. Let that shoot back across. Did you see that? It was magic. The lavender, of course, was slightly drier because we did that right at the beginning. There's now Sap Green on my brush. And I'm just letting those colours play. Let's take a little bit of the Junebug into this green that I can see still flowing. And I'm going to pick up some of this lavender and just let that move across the page here. So it's a simple little game, just allowing colours to mix and blend as they move. That was already the lavender sap green mix. Going to come in with some pure lavender on here. Let that shift and move. And coming back and forth, the amounts of liquid, it's going to cause blooms. So where that water spreads out, that's a little bloom. I like it as a texture. I'm not averse to the odd bloom. When you have differing amounts of pigment and water hitting one another, they will behave in their own little ways. This is the Sap Green Junebug mix. It really is. These are sort of butterfly colours that are emerging. I've got a feeling of lightness and airiness. So that had dried, so it was too late to come back in really and mix. But if I just reactivate it a little bit, if I were on slightly better paper, that would work a little bit better. But I'm not. So it does what it does. And I'm more than happy to live with that. So if I put down just some water in fairly random but almost botanical sorts of shapes, and then I'm going to drop a little bit of lavender into the centre of it. Again, the better the paper, the more fun this will be, because the better it will move. We're going to do it on the Khadi paper in a minute. That was a nice little spurt. Pick up some lavender and see if we can get it to move in here. So I'm now just letting these paints play in the water, letting what happens happen. I'm going to bring down a stem, because I'm still working with that sense of that's rather beautiful. That little dot of green right in the centre will continue to move into those spaces, and if I leave this to dry, that pigment will also continue to spread. Sort of slightly tempted to add in some little strokes of green a little higher up, and I might just take, this is a rigger brush, so it's capable of really lovely random markings. Might take it on a little Junebug journey, so you can do lovely sort of scribbly things, almost a version of Asemic writing that is not quite writing. Let's bring in another colour, so the lavender coming to join the fray. So it's just a way of exploring with colour, exploring with amounts of pigment, amounts of water. And then, yeah, the other thing a rigger will do is lovely sort of textural grassiness. Let's come and put a little bit of paint onto the Khadi paper and just see what that gets us. This is the kind of playfulness that gives you a journey. Just mix up some colours, see what you get. There's the Khadi paper. Let's see how different the journey is if we let ourselves. Maybe we'll do another mixing circle. Let's get you back again. So I'm just going to put some Junebug down, put some lavender down. This is interesting. The paper feels very absorbent at the moment. Put some sap green down, and then I'm just going to add some clean water between the two. let what happens happen. So that's dragging some green in from below. That's quite pretty. Let's put some lavender, a little bit of water. That's got some Junebug in it already. That's fine by me. Let's get some of these mixes back in the game. So I'm sort of I'm playing, but I learn as I go. This teaches me things about how the paint moves in water, how the paint moves on the paper. Look at that explosion there. See, that's what happens when you've got quite decent paper. That kind of kick of colour was pure magic. Just going to use, there's quite a lot of water I can see here. So I'm just going to use that in a scribbly kind of way just to see how it plays. And then I might pop in a bit of this lavender because I love the greys it gets me. Also really like how a rigger, or sometimes they're called a liner. That's a lot of paint on here now. So there's a little lump of lavender. Just going to take some journeys with it. Let it spread into maybe some petal shapes. Quite a large flower, all good. In fact, it's almost butterfly-like, isn't it? Let's get ourselves a stem, maybe some leaves. And it'll be a question of coming back later to just see where I might want to add some more detail, where I might be able to shape something more specific out of what's on the page, either with line work or with a bit more paint work. But this is playtime for colour. I'm just going to let unfold what unfolds. Let's pick up a bit of green. I've got a flat brush here which I might take on a little journey. And things are really now mixing up in the palette here in a deliciously random way that I can either make use of or not, depending on how I feel about what's emerging on the page. It's a question of looking, of watching, of enjoying the dance of the pigment and the water. Let's take a little more lavender. A little more Junebug. Let those join in the middle somewhere. Maybe bring down a touch of the green. And all of this I could cut up for little moments of accent in a journal page, or just let it live as it is. I'm really quite tempted to go a little bit dragonfly over here, or butterfly. Just increase that sense of wings, translucence. Let's put in a bit of this. It's sort of impressionistic, but rather pleasurable. flying away up there. Maybe a little more Junebug down in this corner. So again, I'm just letting what emerges emerge. Apologies, I forgot again that I'd zoomed in. But this is just an invitation to join me for playtime, really. And yeah, if it goes off camera, I apologise. I'm too absorbed in what's happening on the paper. And sort of that's as it should be. That should be my focus. If I'm truly playing, I need to be present in what's happening. So this is really an encouragement to everyone to dig out 3 colours, pick 3 colours, take them out for a spin, try them on a couple of different bits of paper and see what emerges. See what kinds of moments of joy you experience as the colours flex and shift and merge. I'm going to let this do some drying so that when I come back for the close-up, you'll see that some of this will continue to shift and move, because that's how watercolour works. For as long as there's moisture for the pigment to spread out into, it will continue to shift and move. I'm sort of tempted to do a little bit of gentle spatter just to get some dark contrast, but all of those are heading into wet paint, so they're going to continue to move. And then I'm quite tempted to just lie some colour down here. And all of these are shapes or patterns or brush strokes that I might deploy in future. It's giving me a toolbox to play with. And I've got pages of these going back all the way to my very first watercolour playtime sessions. Just always obsessed. I was always fascinated by how the paint would emerge onto the paper. So even when I didn't know what I was doing, it was a learning process to just mess around. And I think it's sometimes an ability we slightly let go of. Children are very good at messing around. But it's such a productive learning technique. Good, I'm going to stop there and let these dry. And then we'll come back for a close-up and just see what has continued to shift and move and what has set. So join me for the close-up. I hope you've enjoyed seeing 3 colours just playing on the paper. If you have, do give me a thumbs up. And as I say, let me know in the comments if there are 3 colours you'd like me to explore with some more. And if I've got anything approaching those colours, I'll give it a go. Thanks so much for watching, and happy crafting all.